The Fan.
What up, though? It is Saturday morning, 9 a.m., so that means one thing. It is Sports Saturday right here on 105.1 The Fan. What's up, Jordan? How you doing, brother?
Yo, hanging in there. I had heat exhaustion earlier this week. Never experienced shivering while hot before.
Oh.
Yeah, I was in Boston all weekend, so that was a little scary, like to the point where I had to look it up. It's like, oh, that means, dude, your body is trying to get cold, and you need to get into the AC quickly. So,
well, I'm glad
happy
you're
to be back here and chilled.
I'm glad you're okay. You look very chill today.
Thanks, brother.
It's good to see you. I am Rashad Taylor. That is my guy, Jordan Schultz. This is Sports Saturday, 105.1 The Fan. It's good to see you, bro. You were out last week, so it was just me and Joe. Swag, pinched hit for you and stepped in. And, Swag is one of the GOAT producers, I think. That's just me. So it was always good to have him there.
Beyond the GOAT, honestly.
For sure. So, a few weeks ago, I sent a list of, and I just made it myself just because I was bored and everything. And I was thinking about all of the guys that have been here at this station, from 1080, all the way up right now to 105.1. And it's a murderer's row of great hosts, from here in the town and great producers and stuff like that. And so made my own little top 10 list. Now, I think people are going to disagree with some, where they might be putting everything, but we won't get in that, right now. But I'd love to hear people's, I'm pretty sure the top 5 would be the same on most of our list.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going, and it's pretty much already sewn up right there, right? It's like giving the MVP to somebody not named Tom Brady in his peak. It's like, what are you doing? We all know what the list
it happened, though.
At least 1 through 5.
Yeah, it happened, though, but yeah,
When
I
writers
think we
get
kind of
bored,
know.
they get antsy. So.
Yeah, I think we kind of know 1 through 5. And that's kind of what it was, man. It was that time of summer. I think now it's a little better. Football is on the horizon, so college football is right around the corner. NFL, they're in second week of the preseason, so that's almost over, and we're almost there. We're almost at meaningful football. It's almost September, bro.
That's it's been a crazy summer. Like, that's something that, usually you have that lull around this time and then a couple of weeks leading up to the month of August, and you're like, okay, like, football's coming. Please get here. I'm excited for football, don't get me wrong, but we've just had so much going on, especially locally. We'll get to the sale of the Blazers happening this week. Like, the Blazers shocking the world, drafting Young Hansen. Like, there's been a lot happening here in the world of sports that just seems to keep the summer moving this year more than other years. And it's just like, wow, I don't feel a lull at all.
Well, and especially in a city like Portland, like this has been, ironically, a very eventful summer for the Trailblazers. I mean, you talk about drafting Jan Hansen when a lot of people felt the way. I know
what?
I did. I did until I saw the young man play a little bit and feel a lot better about that pick. And then you talk about, the addition of Drew Holiday at first. And it was like, okay, like, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? We don't know what's going to happen there. And then you add in Damian Lillard. It's like, okay. And that was the cherry on top. And then just a few weeks later, the Blazers have a brand new owner, which we will get to today. That was obviously the biggest news of the sports week, at least here in the Northwest, is that the Blazers have a new owner. But, yeah, man. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. This has been a weird summer in the sense that there has been a little more to talk about than we're used to seeing. But I do love the summer because it's my opportunity to really get out and not be glued to the TV. Like, I mean, baseball's on literally all day, every day,
nice.
During the summer. And so if you do want to get out and do something and get out with the wife and kids or with your buddies or whatever the case is, like, you can do that and still make it home and still catch the 6th, 7th inning of some game, especially because the Mariners don't typically start until 7 or something like that.
That was one thing on the East Coast. That was like a 10-10 first pitch to 1 a.m. basically watch time for me because they were back home here in Seattle. And I had to stay up very, very late. It was kind of fun.
How lit though? Because if you think about it, all of our sports bars in here in the Northwest, they're pretty much dead by 10 o'clock. Games are over, people are starting to kind of file out and, but if you're on the East Coast and it's a 10-10 first pitch or it's a 10 o'clock tip, man, like, that's great. Like, that means I'm here at the bar until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, potentially, hanging out, drinking, doing whatever. Like, that seems like a good hang.
That's the thing about the Super Bowl, Rashad, is what is the West Coast start time? Like 3:30 for us every year. And we're all bitching like, we need the next day off. Like, we are all dragging, and I still taste the alcohol in my mouth from all day before trying to get to work the Monday after. But even more so for those people, like, I usually don't defend Nor'easters or East Coasters or anything like that because most of them are jackasses and very narcissistic and full of themselves. Go to Boston for like 2 days and you'll figure that out. But in this case, I actually defend our sports brethren over in the Northeastern and just the entire Eastern part of the United States, man. Their Super Bowl starts at like 6:30.
Yeah.
So it's into the night essentially that you're now. It's usually a party where you got the full fam. You're trying to get the kids back, truck them back to school. Now, if you do move it to a President's Day deal, then well, thankfully most people won't have work. Most kids won't have school. That would probably help the Eastern Seaboard more than the West.
I kind of envy them, with that
Yeah?
late start time because I'll be real, for a day like the reason we're so damn tired on the West Coast is because day drinking is hard.
Why? You get to go to bed at like 11.
And as you get older, day drinking becomes tougher to do.
Well,
Like,
I
I mean,
agree
because
with
you're
that.
now it's 7 o'clock and you're like, oh man, I guess I'm gonna turn in. Day's over. Like, yeah, I think I'm gonna put a cap on it tonight. So I think that's the one thing now, especially now that I'm older. Whenever I go to a day party, anything during the day, and there's drinking, man, by 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm
Out.
like, all right, yeah, it's time for bed.
That's not a bad plan, though.
Yeah, but if you're, you get to start drinking at, 6 o'clock, 7, 8, whatever the case is, yeah, I can probably stay up a little bit longer. Now I'm tired at a reasonable party hour, like 11:30 or 12, and that doesn't seem as weird anymore going to bed at that time. So
I mean, Rashad, I don't have kids yet, so my wife and I, it's kind of a wacky schedule. Sometimes we'll be tired. If we want to go to bed, we'll go to bed, but then we're also out at Dixie Tavern until 2 a.m., excuse me, and then up at like 11 noon the next day, and we finally get our breakfast in at 2
are
p.m.
you a dive bar guy?
It depends. I'm not a dirty bar guy, man. Like, I've watched too much Bar
love
Rescue,
dirty
but
bars.
dive bars don't necessarily describe a dirty bar. It's just a, not necessarily a well-lit, kind of a homey place where the drinks, you're not getting a lot of mixology. It's just a, Crown and Coke kind of place,
That's
right?
I'm a Crown and Coke kind of guy.
Give me a beer.
Hold the Coke.
Or hey, love that. Or give me a shot with a beer back. Like, those are the kinds of places I would title as dive bars. And there can be some that are really good, absolutely, but I don't necessarily seek them out. I need like a good burger. That's kind of, if a bar has a good smash burger or a burger, that's kind of the draw for me.
I could give a damn. Yeah, I
Really?
mean, really, like,
I mean, I'm chubby, so
some
you're
bar-
like, of course, he
'cause-
cares about the food.
Because let's be real, some bar food is trash.
Oh,
Most of it is trash, and then you'll find a really
Yeah.
really good one that is just absolutely phenomenal.
they make
you
like
know?
the best barbecue spare ribs or something.
Yeah,
You're like,
something
oh my
like,
god,
why
yeah.
why do you have this here?
Exactly.
So I don't really care as much about the food. I don't know. There's something about just being tucked away and meeting different people that aren't necessarily all rich or come from that have these amazing jobs or stuff like that. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's kind of kicking it with the homies.
Well,
There's some
there's only
some
one.
randoms over there,
What-
and
oh,
the drinks are always cheap, right?
Yes.
So that Crown and Coke, more like $4, $3, as opposed to going to a really nice place and spending 11,
can
for
you
it.
buy drinks for $4 anymore? Like
Sure.
that is.
Hell yeah, you
Get
can.
me there right now because that sounds like heaven. That is something that I've not
You
heard
don't go
in
to
a
enough
while.
dive bars.
Apparently not.
Yeah, you don't go to enough dive bars.
Well,
You
I
can go
live in
somewhere.
Wilsonville. There are no dive bars.
You can go to there's not
There are
many.
barely any bars in Wilsonville, unfortunately.
Yeah, you got to come this way, for some bars and everything like
Well,
that. So
hey, city leadership of Wilsonville, make it easier for business owners to come in. How about that? Like, we would love.
if you want to have fun, just come to Portland. Like, you're not far.
But now Ubers used to be cheap. Now it's a $50 ride into Portland. Literally a couple years
Well,
ago.
you live in
it was
Wilsonville,
$30.
so yeah, you live in Wilsonville.
Yeah, now
so that's deep.
if I want to drink, which my wife and I like, we do not drink and drive. We don't mess with that as like we got to take an Uber in, and that's fine. But it's I don't know what was a $60 plus tip cost is now $100 plus tip cost when you're looking at a night out for us.
Hey
So,
man, that's the price you pay for a night out. Do you want to go or not? I mean, seriously, like so.
some
there-
people can't. You know what? There are a lot of others that aren't as lucky to just be able to go look at their bank account and be like, "Oh, can I spend it on this?" Like that's it. It's not an easy like spend. And if you go, I don't know, more than 3 weekends without going out or anything, you get squirrely, and then you start being like, "Hey, we really got to go do something." So it's just that battle of not wanting to spend that money constantly, but also not wanting to be at home.
And
you know?
the reality is we're
God.
adults now, and there's no such thing as a $50 night out anymore.
Oh,
Those are over.
it's a
Yeah.
it's a crapshoot, honestly, if you can get anything for under a hundo, even going out on your own anymore, because like unless you go to the dive bars, Rashad, like you just end up getting with the vibe. You buy a couple of people some drinks. Maybe if you're single, you buy that cutie a drink that you see at the bar, then she never talks to you
Yeah,
again.
if she's willing to go to the dive bar on the first date and everything, yeah, I'm stunting with this $50.
Actually,
Whatever you need.
have you ever
You
heard
want to make it a double barkeep?
have you ever heard of Tom Likas?
Not sure.
So there was a radio host from Southern California, very very famous and very brash, not necessarily the cleanest guy on the radio, but Tom Likas was known for giving out dating advice, but doing so just very seedily and not necessarily above board. Like, hey, go and talk to her and give her some flowers. Type more like, hey, this is the type of girl to look for if you want to get laid. And in that, as you bring up the dive bar, Rashad, the girl that's effing with the dive bar. That's a good indicator right there that she's actually down, because according to Tom Likas from back in the day, it is a lot harder. And I think this is actually just logic. This isn't really something that I think he discovered himself. But if you're trying to hit on a group of girls that are like, 3 or 4 deep and they've got martinis and
Bad
they're doing the
idea.
Cosmos or something like that, yeah, you're going to strike out like 9.5 out of 10 times. But if you hit a girl up, she's at the dive bar, she's with 2 or 3 friends or by herself, she's drinking a SoCo and Coke, she's drinking a beer, with a bourbon shot, like there's a much bigger chance she's smoking a cigarette, a much bigger chance that you're
Yeah,
going to be able to get that
she's
yes.
probably with
So,
all the smoke.
yeah,
And I'll say this,
exactly.
fellas, just a little piece of advice. If you are going to talk to a table of ladies or table, and there's a girl,
Yes,
you talk to the table.
Yeah.
You don't single out the one girl that you're interested in. No, because there is somebody at that table that's hating. You talk to the table.
There is always
you buy the table a drink, and if you can't do that, then do not approach. Just saying.
There's always the bitter girl that hasn't gotten laid in a while and will call any dude off that's trying to hit on any of the other girls that are there.
Yeah, or there's one girl that just broke up with a boyfriend or something like that.
We're not doing boys tonight.
So guess what? This is cool. You let them make their own decision and go ahead and talk to the table, not the one, because you will get turned down by the one.
Yes, you will. They will all. You will get turned down by the 4 for the 1.
Yeah. So yeah, make sure you speak to the group. So
I love that, Rashad. Thank you for pointing that out, because that is one that
of
I think
course.
a lot
That's just
of
a little
dudes-
game. That's just a little game for you fellas out there that don't know any better. Ladies, you can approach us, no problem. We're going to be with you. Doesn't matter.
Is this about to turn into
Doesn't
like a
matter.
pickup show?
We'll do that another time. Yeah,
we're PUAs. We are now pickup artists.
Yeah,
man.
the ladies man up here on 105.1 The Fan.
Maybe
so
we need that.
we say we talk some sports though.
Oh, there's a lot to talk about, my friend.
Yes, it is, man. The Northwest had a huge deal go down, and looks like the Blazers have a brand new owner. What does that mean? We'll talk about that next, right here. Sports Saturday, 105.1 The Fan.
Hey, it's Dusty. My family
Big news out of Portland this week. There is a new boss in town. His name, Tom Dundon. He is the new owner of the Portland Trail Blazers. Sold for just over $4 billion, which is a little more than I honestly was expecting the Blazers to go for, considering the Clippers went for, what, 2? The Celtics went for, what, 6?
6.1, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so, I mean, I guess I didn't value the Blazers as, as that high of a valuation for a team, but I mean, I digress. And
Well,
obviously, they are worth a little bit more. $4 billion is $4 billion. I know people are looking at the Lakers deal, which is the most recent,
the 10 billion.
the 10 billion. You see that and you go, damn, like we're not the Lakers. We're
No,
not the
absolutely
Celtics,
not.
and I was surprised they only got $2 billion less than what the Celtics were sold for initially.
Well, it doesn't surprise me, Rashad, just in the terms of how big these valuations are actually getting and
For
at
sure.
the rate these teams are growing in valuation. I mean, if you just want to look at it really quickly from a basic, like from Paul Allen buying the team for just over $70 million to now, the estate, basically, I can't even do the quick math, thousands upon 10,000s of a percentage point of a return for that investment. We saw the growth of teams' valuations, through the 90s in the NBA. They started to kind of creep up to those multi-hundreds of millions. Then as we got to the new millennium in 2000, we're getting near billion-dollar valuations. And unfortunately, at least for people purchasing a team, Rashad, and nobody's feeling sad about billionaires, but what I'm saying is that unfortunately, if you're looking at a team, the price literally changed in the last 3 years from about 1.5 to 2 billion to maybe 4+ billion or so. Perfect evidence that Minnesota Timberwolves lawsuit that Alex Rodriguez and his purchasing group just won a few months ago. Remember in, 20 or 21, they went up for sale and agreed to that $1.8 billion valuation deal that A-Rod and his purchasing group came in to grab the Timberwolves for, as the other valuations around the league, because the new TV deal was coming, that $76 billion being injected into the league from ESPN and others, and obviously, the prominence post-pandemic and everything. Like, there really was a push now for streaming content, and the NBA has been one of the better leagues at kind of leaning into that, trying to be available, not necessarily locally. Thankfully, the Blazers have figured it out, the Suns have figured it out, but they have been available worldwide for a long time, and that's one of the reasons that their valuations have been growing so big. But in that period of 5 years, you basically saw a team being, sold for 1.8, jumping to over $3 or $4 billion. The Steve Ballmer $2 billion valuation for the Clippers, that was
A fire sale.
and exactly, and that was also what we're talking now almost 10 years ago, right? Like, this is a kind of an old valuation. If you're talking $2 billion, that was near the top of the enchilada back then. Now, you don't see a team being sold for less than $2 billion, I think. Probably less than 3. So, unfortunately, with the Timberwolves losing that lawsuit, essentially, the team had to be sold to A-Rod and company for 1.8. As these other valuations were going up, the Blazers, one of those teams. That's why, for instance, they turned down that $2 billion offer from Phil Knight and Smolinski, the owner of the Dodgers, right? Like, the Blazers knew, this estate knew that these valuations were climbing, so it's not surprising to me that they did get $4.25 billion. But
Damn.
it kind of, I know that's some serious cheddar if you just want to look at that in a box. But then there's possibly other monies that we can get to as well, about an arena and stuff like that. But really, Rashad, just focusing on the purchase price for the Blazers. I know you say you're surprised. I'm not so shocked. It just seems like this is where valuations of teams are going, and Portland has traditionally been one of the best fan bases in the NBA.
And I'll say this, according to Forbes, in 2021, the Blazers were valued at $2 billion.
Yes.
And that was 13th out of 30 teams. And that was 2021. So that was just 4 years ago.
And that
right?
was right around when Phil Knight and Smolinski for the Dodgers made that $2 billion offer.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the Blazers are definitely, I think people think they're moving in the right direction. I think getting away from the whole Jody thing is a big thing for a lot of Blazer fans.
Yeah.
Like, I think Jody Allen, I think she takes a lot of unfair criticism at times, but I think some of the criticism she does get is incredibly warranted as far as how she's moved, some of the things she's blocked, things like that. Not selling the team to Uncle Phil was probably put the biggest target on her back at that point
But
because
yeah, you're
that
right.
was huge. Not telling it to the owner or the creator of Nike, basically, which is in Portland's backyard. Obviously, it's right here. He's a local kid. Went to Cleveland High School.
I know.
It makes sense to have been able to sell this team. To Phil Knight. They didn't, but whatever. So here we are now.
I will push back on that a little bit, Rashad. It was the duty because she is selling it for an estate. I'm not sure she knew, Burkhold knew that these valuations were skyrocketing, and they knew that they weren't quite ready in the process to actually put the team up for sale yet. This is Jody Allen actually doing her duty for the estate of her brother to get the biggest purchase price.
Yeah.
And you're going to see the same thing. It's why they didn't sell the Seattle Seahawks first. The Seattle Seahawks are going to be up for sale probably by 2030. And I'm going to be astounded, Rashad, at the number that team draws because NFL teams obviously still growing exponentially in value as well. So I hear what you're saying about that, but I'm not as mad at her looking now with some hindsight glasses on. It just seems like that was her doing her fiduciary duty for the estate, which was literally what Paul Allen's will called for.
Yeah. So there's a lot happening with this situation. But first, I want to make sure we take time, and we haven't done this now that the Paul Allen era is officially over.
Yeah.
In Portland, it's important that we give him his flowers. Paul Allen, for all of his flaws, as an owner, there was a lot of success that came for this franchise. It didn't equate to a championship, but there were
not his fault.
There were 2 finals appearances in between there.
Yep.
You do have 2 top 75 players of all time. Since you've been the owner there. Let's see, you made the playoffs from '88 to 2003. Every year you were in the playoffs as an owner and stuff like that.
Which is literally right after he bought it. So he took the team on a 15-year run.
And mind you, they were already making the playoffs prior to him getting there, but there was a 15-year run, like you said, to where Paul Allen and the Trailblazers were in the playoffs.
Plus the sellout streak that went beyond that even.
So, hiring Bob Whitsitt, which really kind of changed the Blazers' fortunes for a little bit and really put them on the mainstream map for people. So I think there was a lot of building the Moda Center. He was or the Rose Garden at that point. He was really instrumental in doing that whole thing. And
also saved it 20 years later when he bought it.
And he bought it, back in, was it 2007?
Yeah,
I think
right
he
around
bought it,
then,
2007, 8, somewhere around there. So it's important to make sure we give Paul Allen his flowers. There has been a lot of great moments as a Blazer fan, based on just him being the owner here. So new era for the Blazers. I'm excited for it, but I think there's still a lot of people that are very uncertain about what happens now.
Rashad, you talk about giving Paul Allen his flowers. I think I do need to state that he is probably the reason that I am a Portland Trailblazers fan and as passionate, as I am about Blazers basketball, because that 99-2000 season, you're talking to an 11-year-old Schultze that, is just understanding the world of sports. I just started to understand what first, second, and third down meant in the NFL, and in football, and now I really understand, how a two-man game works, how the triangle works, really getting deep into the world of basketball and having that exciting team, man. That starting lineup that was the highest paid starting lineup and the highest paid team overall at the time, right around 98, 99, 2000, Rashad. Guys, if you don't remember as Trailblazers fans or if you've forgotten, Damon Stoudemire, Steve Smith, Scottie freaking Pippen trying to win his own title outside of Michael Jordan's shadow, and then, of course, Rasheed Wallace and the great Arvydas Sabonis now in the Hall of Fame. It was almost an unbeatable lineup, and if it weren't, of course, for the surge, we all know the story, but it's just such a storybook.
Almost had it.
It's such a storybook memory as a kid coming into the world of basketball. This is my team. They were almost there. That was all because of Paul Allen. They literally had 2 starting lineups on their team at the time. You had Brian Grant, Greg Anthony, Stacey Augmon coming off the bench. They were just
Jermaine O'Neal was so good and couldn't get on the floor.
Yeah,
couldn't get on the floor.
They were so deep that they couldn't put a 19-year-old Jermaine O'Neal on the floor. And just looking back and wanting to maybe take a minute to celebrate that time in Blazers basketball and just really remember that, yes, that is why I am a fan. And it is kind of crazy to look back now and see where we are with a new era. But it sounds like Tom Dundon is the same kind of guy that Paul Allen was, which is just passionate. I want to win, fiery MFer. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And Paul Allen, He put his pocketbook exactly where he needed to. He put his money where his mouth was. He put his passion on display every single night sitting under the hoop here, in Portland at the Rose Garden and Moda Center for games. Like, you just knew that you were part of an organization's fan base that actually wanted the best for that team and wanted the best going forward. And I think that's partly why people turned on Jody near the end, because it was obvious that she didn't feel that. She was there putting
I
on
don't think
that
she
Blazers
got it all the
jacket.
way. She didn't get it all the way.
She's doing there trying to basically be a stand-in for her brother, right? And of course, like, I don't know how their relationship was over the years. I don't know how invested in Blazers basketball and Seahawks football she's been over the course of her life, but it just didn't seem authentic to Blazers fans. And it is nice now that we are jumping away from that period of inauthenticity and just a lot of tumultuous, unsure times into what seems to be a sure future for the Blazers. And Tom Dundon, honestly, wasn't necessarily on my radar as
Or
this
anyone's
process
radar
started, or anybody's, but I'm excited looking deeper into this, what Tom Dundon can bring to this organization.
Well, I guess that's a great segue. That's where we'll go from there. What can Tom Dundon do for this organization? What do you want as Blazer fans? We'll talk about that next. But first, here's Jordan with sports.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Seattle Seahawks in Game 2 of preseason action last night right here on the Fan, beating the Kansas City Chiefs 33-16, the final. Drew Lock getting most of the snaps under center, 10 of 12 and 129 yards, throwing 2 tutties as well. Also on the ground, Damian Martinez, former Beaver and Hurricane, making an impact. He had the most rushing yards with 50. On to baseball, the Seattle Mariners getting a huge win over the Mets last night, 11-9. Your final. Cal Raleigh hit his 46th bomb of the season. Almost got number 47, just missed the top of the wall. Ended up getting one of his 2 doubles as well. They'll go for another win today. Brian Wu v. Nolan McLean on the bump. It's a 1:10 first pitch on Root Sports. Also, right here on the Fan, ESPN Radio's got coverage getting going at 12:30. And on to the PGA BMW Championship happening right now. Robert McIntyre not teeing off yet. He and Scotty Scheffler at 10:45 getting in action, but McIntyre leads the field at 14 under. Scheffler behind him, but pretty far at 9 under. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of prime time. 1080 AM.
I'm Jason Swigard. Welcome back to wrong show. This is Sports Saturday. I am Rashad Taylor. That is my guy Jordan Schultz behind the glass.
That's my fault.
Nah, it's all good, man. Players mess up. It's all good. Don't apologize for that. At least it's a nice little smooth jam coming back into it. So I'll take that, man. So a couple things to consider about this new ownership. Number one, probably going to need a new arena. More than likely going to need a new arena. And not just a new arena in place of the Moda Center. You need a whole new infrastructure. You need a whole neighborhood. If you go to LA, or if you go to Boston, if you go to New York, right? You go to Miami, you go to any one of these cities that have an NBA team, there's a couple bars outside, there's a restaurant, there's maybe a shopping area, there's something to where if there's no game, there's still activity going on. People are always going to go to those bars. They're always going to go to those stores. They're always going to go to those restaurants. There's still movement
It's a
when
hot
there's no
spot
season.
in town. You know that people are going to meet up there regardless.
Remember when the Blazers had Kachina Kachina?
I loved Kachina Kachina.
That was awesome.
It was a good priced restaurant.
Remember they had the Nike that was at the Moda Center?
I do.
Yeah, so there was reason.
There were a couple options.
Yeah,
there.
there was reason to kind of be around there, and then they took out the Nike. They obviously took out the Kachina Kachina, and now it's Jack's at this point.
And Dr. Jack's, let's be honest, the food selection there sucks. Sorry, Blazers. The drinks are closer to arena prices than they are an actual bar, and obviously that's the only freaking choice within walking distance of the Moda. Like, what are we doing? It's 2025.
Are you still paying for actual drinks at the games?
Like, what are you saying? I shouldn't? Like, I just need to go
I
pregame
mean,
or something, or
no,
like I'm stealing them? What?
Be like me and bring some in.
No, dude, I haven't
I'm
done
not-
that
listen.
since I was like 20 years old
Listen,
going to a Ducks game.
Now these alcohols are in plastic bottles.
Yeah,
that's
I
all day.
know. It's
That's all day.
Man, I've seen
Sorry.
people bring them in like IV bags. Like, oh, this is my diabetic drip. Yeah, I
Don't
bet
know
it is.
don't know if I'm doing that. However, you bring it in one of those little plastic bottles, man. You're in the mix, and you save yourself $45-$50 on a couple cocktails because they're each $17, which is one thing, in my opinion, a new owner could do. Like, I look at the Atlanta
Absolutely.
Falcons, and I know a couple years ago people made a huge thing about the fact that they were offering $4 hot dogs
Yes.
and $5 nachos and things like that. That people really, if I'm there and I know this stuff is inexpensive, everybody can get something. Yeah, baby, what do you want? Oh yeah, kids, what do you want? Popcorn, all that. Yeah, give it all to us. And so I think there needs to be more affordable options. I think there's one space at the Moda Center right now, and it's on the 300
It's on
level,
the 300 level, yeah.
and you can get like $6 burgers.
value
and,
section,
and it's
yeah.
like, that's legit. There should be more of that, because especially if you're in the 300s, most likely you're just coming from work. You're just coming, you probably have the kids, and you may be on a date or something like that.
It's like a value package that you bought
Yeah,
or something like that.
it might be nice to be able to come to the game with $50 and leave with maybe $5.
That would
That
a
would be nice,
$50
right?
night for the fam. Well, Rashad, what you're talking about is when Mercedes-Benz Stadium opened in Atlanta, and yeah, they were the first ever stadium and team to do this, offering these $5 hot dogs, $3.50 refillable sodas, and now T-Mobile Park and the Seattle Mariners have taken suit. They not only offer all that stuff, nachos for $3, you can get $5 beers. Now, I'm biased because I love my Miller High Life, and it is on the list of
But it's
$5
$5,
beers.
yeah.
So I can literally drink my ass off for less than $50.
Yeah, I'll
in
drink
a
some
game
Rainier.
if I want.
I don't really drink
Exactly.
Rainier, but if they're only $5, shoot them.
And those, this is the key point, Rashad, are available all around the arena and the ballpark. And it's kind of disconcerting as a Blazers fan when they say, oh, we care about the fan, except you got to go all the way up to the 300 level and probably wait in a long line with everyone else that's trying to get that value as well. So that's like one aspect, of the Moda that's lacking. There's premium options that are also lacking. I guess, Rashad, it's just not really great to go as a rich guy, as a middle-class guy or gal, or as somebody that's just trying to catch a game for $10 and get some of the cheapest tickets you can, unless you go like on a random Wednesday night when people aren't there.
Unless you want to see Utah play.
Exactly, so you can catch like some, easy lines and actually watch the game instead of just wait for your food. Like, there's different things that need to be fixed, but then on top of that, the arena experience as well, something that while you're at the game, they need to do stuff beyond just the scoreboards, which I know they're updating right now at Moda. So it kind of starts to beg the question, as we've been asking here for months, are they going to build a new arena? And I think Tom Dundon for the Carolina Hurricanes had already started that revitalization project in, I think it's Raleigh, North Carolina,
Yes.
where the Hurricanes have their home. Essentially doing exactly what we need around Moda, doing to their stadium and their arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. And that is giving the other options to fans, giving them more bars, basically making it that mecca of entertainment and stuff happening downtown where people just know that there's always going to be stuff going on, whether it's a concert, whether it's a game, that they're always going to need to be doing. And so that's the question, Rashad, is are we going to see Tom Dundon maybe trying to invest that way, or are we going to see the plan teetering towards what we've been hearing for the last year or so, that the Blazers desperately need a new arena?
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
the
I just
options
think
at Moda are lacking.
I think renovations just don't do it at this point. Like you can put you can go the Steve Ballmer route and put a big screen inside of the arena and everything. I just don't think it would matter at this point. I think what you need, unfortunately, Moda is the oldest arena,
the seventh oldest, but it is probably the oldest without any major renovations.
Yeah, I mean, because
you're
talking
Madison
MSG
Square,
and stuff like that. Yeah, so
all been way redone.
Yeah, I totally get that, but I think it's definitely time for a facelift. And I don't know if renovations, and they're saying renovations could be anywhere between 30 and 50 million. This is going to sound crazy, but that's not enough.
That's a cheap out.
Yeah, that's not enough. I think you completely need to rebuild your brand. And this is really Dundon's opportunity to make this team in his image. Hopefully he doesn't do anything like come in and we're going to change the colors and we're going to be this now. We're going to do hopefully he doesn't come in and do any of that, right off the back. But definitely the arena is the biggest thing. And now it's like, who's going to pay for it? Mm-hmm. As a public school employee, there is no more money that can be taken from the school district. Yeah. Just being real. I'm losing coworkers and stuff like that because there are just budget cuts that are coming left and right. That's not somewhere that you can continue to take money from.
No.
It's just, you just can't do it. You're talking about healthcare and pensions. That's also somewhere you can't take money away from. So it's like, man, if you want an arena, I'm sorry, Dundon, you got to build it, bro.
Well, and
you got it. And here's the cool part. Like, you're a billionaire, so we assume that you got it, even though he doesn't have all the money yet. He's got a team of people that, they're getting it together, that they've sold it to him in principle, but
one of which is an Oregonian, by the way.
Which gives me a little bit of relief knowing that there is somebody who is based in Portland that is a part of this ownership team. So that's definitely a great thing.
Can I speak to that, by the way, Rashad?
Go ahead,
I would like some of the weed that everybody that thought that the Blazers were seriously going to move, that they have all been smoking. I want to hit that bong with you guys, because you have all been, for the last month or so, freaking out, just reacting to every clickbait article out there. Like, I get it. Putting Dame in a Sonics jersey, people are going to react. But, the logic behind this is so empty. And even hold on, even after, Rashad, we see this deal complete, or not completed yet, still needs to be approved by the NBA Board of Governors, which is just the owners. But you see this headline on ESPN, Blazers sold, will stay in Portland. And even still after that, the Portland Business Journal, Sports Business Journal, writing articles about, well, at the worst, Dundon can move the team in 2030 after the current lease agreement expires. And it's like, guys, stop bringing that up. Oh my effing goodness. I know you're trying to hit those SEO Google search terms, but let's move on. The ownership group has already put it out there that they're not going to move. This is exactly what I hoped and what I thought would happen, Rashad. It's a Steve Ballmer type of guy that just cares about sports, that just wants in to the big money. He's willing to keep his team where they're at. This guy's from Dallas. He hops on a private jet, flies to Carolina if he needs to see that team, flies to Portland if he needs to see his team. And if there is a new arena, Rashad, I would imagine it is going to be something like what the Clippers got. And I think the cost of that was close to $2 billion, but we're talking state-of-the-art everything. And that, I think, would put the Blazers on the map internationally as well. It has to happen, and I'm sick and tired of people thinking that because it has to happen that there's a chance that the Blazers will move. No, we have to get an arena, and we can't keep talking about that in tandem with the Blazers possibly leaving Portland. Just stop, okay? Just stop.
So I'd like to agree with you because
Okay.
in theory, I don't think you're all the way wrong.
Okay.
But when you've been burned a few times,
Okay.
and when we live in a region and we saw what happened to our brothers up north in Seattle, it's hard not to think that won't happen. And Seattle has a professional baseball team. They have a professional soccer team. They have a lacrosse. Is it lacrosse? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Lacrosse team. They have a football team. They've got all these other sports they can lean on. And so them taking the Sonics was like, oh, okay, that sucks. But at least we got the Seahawks still, who went on to win a Super Bowl after that. At least we got the Mariners, who went on to be the Mariners. Like, at least you have these other entities there that you can really support. We have nothing here.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. We have the Ducks, we have the Bees, but those are an hour and a half and 2 hours away, respectively. We have nothing here. And them coming in and purchasing the Blazers from a small podunk place like Portland, and that's what people feel about this city.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why wouldn't they move to Vegas where they've been trying to get to? Why wouldn't a team move back to Seattle? Why wouldn't you try to take a team to the Carolinas, or something like that? So that's where a lot of Blazer fans see this and like, dude from out of town can't be good. What does he want with the Blazers? What does a Carolina hockey owner want with the Trailblazers? And how long before they decide they're not going anywhere? Because Clay Bennett said all the right stuff. In 2006, we're not going nowhere.
I know.
Around 2007, well, we're considering potentially. By 2008, they were gone.
I get it.
Is not now, mind you, like that's not something anybody in Seattle thought would happen after you get a Kevin Durant and a Russell Westbrook all of a sudden. Like, man, this is going to be great. And then, oh no, you guys are moving to OKC. And so I think that's Blazers fans' kind of fear right now, is that the same thing happens to the Blazers that happened to the Sonics up north.
I get it, but Howard Schultz, when he sold the Sonics, it was more of a financial reason than anything. He just wasn't making the money that he thought. This obviously is an estate sale. Like, this is a whole different situation that the Blazers obviously have to be moved at this point. It's not a want to get them off of my financial plate. If I'm, Howard Schultz, like, it's now a situation that the NBA has learned from that, and an owner's coming in that is literally already been an out-of-area guy, kept the team in Carolina where they were at, and invested in, local stuff, getting that area revitalized and making it somewhere to go. And that's it's literally mirroring what Portland needs. And after hearing that, I'm just shocked that anybody still thinks that Portland has a chance to be moved. It's just like, no, this isn't going to happen. The Blazers are best here. The NBA knows this, and they learned from the Seattle mistake.
Unfortunately, in this business, you can never say never. We've seen crazier things happen, and so
you're right about that.
We'll just leave it at that. So fingers crossed, the Blazers stay here forever. Let's go ahead and wrap this conversation up, huh?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
What do we want as fans? We talked about what we need. What do we want as fans? We'll talk about that next, right here. Sports Saturday, 105.1 The Fan.
It's the Great Notion
Even worse if I was broke. What you want, man? It's a great record.
Sing
I
it,
was talking
brother.
about this the other day, man. Shout
I mean,
out to Jay-Z.
There was
Question mark?
there was like 10 years where pretty much anything that he did was just hardcore listen. Like I'm gonna put that whole record on, and I don't put whole records on anymore of like new artists. I know they kind of just hit songs now, and then they'll put an album out unless you're Taylor Swift. Nobody cares about track 12, but I don't know. All of Jay-Z stuff for like a decade. It was like, yeah.
Oh
must
yeah,
listen.
Jay is one of my 2 favorite rappers of all time, man. He's absolutely phenomenal. And guess what? He's from the same place as our new owner, Thomas Dundon, which is New York, New York.
Oh. I knew Jay-Z was from New York, New York. I did not know that Tom Dundon was.
Yes, he is. And dude's only 53.
Okay.
So
Relatively young.
He's relatively young. He's a good-looking dude.
I know.
And I think honestly, since Paul Allen passed, we haven't had an owner that's like, I guess, front-facing for the fans. Like somebody that's there to be like a face of the franchise, right?
Yeah,
Not, obviously
that
you have
awkward
Dame.
time, yeah.
Yeah, but now you have this guy who I think a lot of moms are going to like off top. I'm looking at this guy's beard and the gray hair and the
He's got the
cheekbones.
salt
I'm like,
and pepper. Mhm.
we got some Sean McVay, over here now, which I think is a good thing. Having somebody that's a little bit younger, having somebody with a little more energy, I think can be a great thing. We look at Steve Ballmer, and it must be so much fun to play for the Clippers right now.
I know.
Or to be a Clippers fan. Like you see everything that you've started to build. You see you have this owner that's committed to winning and committed to getting there. I think ultimately that's what our Blazer fans want.
Yeah.
We want an owner that, number one, is not afraid to spend money. Go out there and get the best free agents you can get. Sell yourself, sell the city, sell the franchise, do whatever you have to do. And I mean, I'm hoping he can do that. Now, it should be noted that Dundon was voted by the NHL as one of the worst owners in hockey.
He was, yeah.
And so take that with a grain of salt. I'm not really sure what that climate in Carolina was looking for from their owner or from their team. But these are very different markets. Carolina and Portland are night and day. Like they're not the same space even a little bit. So maybe he will resonate a little bit more with the fans here in Portland.
So I'm looking at some of the reasons as to why he was voted as the worst overall owner in the NHL. Agents expressed concerns about his communication and management style, describing it as overly involved and that he, quote, micromanages everything. So you kind of wonder if that's because he sounds like a little bit of a Jerry Jones type situation where you care more about the soap opera, the drama, than you do winning a championship. But I mean, from looking at the, you asked a guy to put money or put the money where his mouth is, excuse me, and you actually see that he's done that. So I don't know, Mark Cuban was the same way. He was overly involved. He micromanaged everything, but he got the Dallas Mavericks a championship and got them to appear in another NBA Finals. So it's not necessarily like there's just one way to skin a cat as an owner in the NBA, but that's the reason why he's not necessarily looked favorably upon in the NHL. So take that as what you will.
And he's been the owner of the Hurricanes since when?
Let's see. I'm trying to look at his Wikipedia here. Billionaire, pickleball. He owns the pickleball
That's pretty tight.
league, by the way, just so you know. 2017 became involved in purchasing the Hurricanes, and in 2021 completed the purchase of all minority shares in the team. And it is actually worth noting that Tom Dundon, there is one significant knock other than his rating in the NHL as an owner, but he was the head and one of the subjects of a lawsuit of the failed Alliance of American Football, the AAF. I don't know if you remember what we're talking about, Rashad.
Can't hold that against him, though, but yes.
I think you might be able to, because in 2019, that was the football league that basically stopped operations either in the middle of a season or near the end of a season, and players at hotels were being footed with bills themselves because the league apparently hadn't been sending cash.
Listen.
And because of that, Dundon faced I think it was like a multi-$100-million lawsuit. I can't remember if I think it was dismissed against Charlie Ebersol. I don't know what happened against Dundon, but he was sued. That's another knock against him. And maybe he's learned, maybe that's just something that was a terrible experience.
Yeah,
As
don't do football if you're not the NFL is the lesson to be learned here.
Exactly.
What successful, besides the UFL, back in the 80s, what successful football entity has there been that's not named the NFL or NCAA? There hasn't been.
I got you.
AFL didn't work. XFL didn't work. Canadian football, nobody wants to watch. Like, so going into the football business is a bad idea. It doesn't work. It's never worked. But what I will say is, I'm looking at the record of the Carolina Hurricanes. Like, they've been legit.
Yeah.
They've been legit. 40 this past season, 47-30. Last season, 52-23. The season before that, 52-21. Season before that, 54-20. Which tells me he knows how to put winners on the floor or on the ice.
He cares, and it's a good thing.
And so, I mean, if you're just starting to be an owner, you want to get it right. You want to come in, you're going to micromanage everything to start until you find the people or until you know you have the people in the right spaces to where you don't have to do that anymore. So does it bother me to hear that? Not really. I need my owner to be overly involved right now.
I kind of like the idea of like a Mark Cuban owner, honestly.
Considering that for the last few years we've had Jody who has not been involved at all, right? Now you get an owner that's going to be in the mix of everything. I'm okay with that because right now this is what this franchise needs is an owner that's going to be forward thinking and saying, okay, let's do this together. Not, hey, the GM, go out there and build me a team. No, let's build a team together.
And let me wrap it up with this, Rashad, kind of talking about like, what do we expect as fans or what do we need as fans going forward for the Portland Trail Blazers and to see what Tom Dundon does. For me, this takes a bit of a priority away from winning a championship and kind of just seeing this organization get settled over the next few years, making sure that this arena project gets done, that they don't just go with a cheap renovation of Moda. Like, guys, the Moda is for a future NHL team in Portland and the WNBA and concerts, all right? The Portland Trail Blazers, the NBA stud, the only sports team in the state of Oregon at the real pro Big Four level. Sorry, I'm not counting MLS in that. The Blazers need their arena, and I think ultimately that's what the focus is going to be of Blazers fans like myself going forward. Not necessarily on winning, but, Dame's curtain call here in Portland and what the hell is going to happen, not only with the coaching side of things, because we're not really confident in Chauncey, but with the arena as well. And I think this next half a decade is a great time for the Blazers to get settled back into this city. Now that Dame is back, now that there seems to be a plan going forward, we're away from that tumultuous, weird ownership period of Jody Allen. That's more what I'm focused on going forward. And as a fan, I'm just excited to see all that get worked out.
Well, here we go. New era is upon us. Tom Dundon, new owner of the Blazers. We'll see what happens. So, hour 2 coming up next, man. We're going to talk some football. You good with that?
Let's do it, brother.
Big Ten season starting. Obviously, Oregon's second year in the Big Ten. What do we expect from them? Who's going to win? We'll talk about that next right here on 105.1 The Fan and The Fan Sports Network.
Swag back with you from my friends at Forest Hills Golf Course out in Cornelius. It's the best golf value on the west side. All the work that Marcus and his crew have been doing over the last several months are now in pristine shape.
with Joe Fisher
Hell yeah, brother.
and Rashad Taylor.
I went a little too hard on the tequila last night.
Sports Saturday on the Fan Sports Network.
And it's intercepted at the goal line.
1051 and 1080.
Unbelievable.
The Fan.
Well, it is Saturday, and this is Sports Saturday on 105.1 The Fan.
Damn right.
I am Rashad Taylor. If you're just now joining us, behind the glass is my guy, Jordan Schultz.
Damn right. What's going on?
Man, we are almost to football, man. We got some football on TV, which is fun to watch for about 7 or 8 minutes.
I'm kind of Isaac Ropp on this. Like, it's hard to watch preseason.
I
try.
I give it 7 to 8 minutes.
I will watch the highlights because we got to know what's going on. So, like the Seahawks Chiefs last night, right? It's my wife's birthday this week, and we just got back from Boston. So it is
So you
not.
don't give a damn about Seahawks Chiefs week 2 preseason.
Well, if you have a wife out there and you want to continue to have that wife, let me just give you a piece of little advice there to husbands out there. Don't watch a Friday night preseason game when you could be doing something with your wife, okay? Whether it be mommy and daddy time or a date or just a walk around the freaking neighborhood, anything is better than preseason football.
Yeah, you
okay?
definitely don't want to be stuck watching preseason football right now. Well, yesterday was kind of a weird looking day outside. So if there's any day that you did want to get stuck inside watching preseason, it was probably yesterday. But it's all good. But I don't really pay attention to preseason. I do pay attention to college, however.
Yeah.
And so college is right around the corner. The Oregon Ducks last season had an amazing debut in the Big Ten.
Yes, sir.
So good, in fact, that they went ahead and won the entire thing in the Big Ten. They didn't win the national championship. They end up losing to what I will say is probably they're going to be the second biggest rivalry in this conference, all of a sudden, which is Oregon and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Michigan, Ohio State is always going to be the one in the Big Ten. But I think Oregon, Ohio State is going to be one of those games that you just have to see every year for the next 20 years or so.
I mean, I'm trying to temper my expectations for 2025 because Oregon had such an explosive start to their career in the Big Ten. And obviously with a new quarterback under center, they've got Decorian Moore coming in. They've got a great young running back as well. But there's just things that they're going to have to tinker with and figure out. And I think that's probably going to take 4, 5, 6 games, into the season until Dante Moore figures it out. But hey, I'm excited for the season. We've got 2 weeks literally from today is the
August
start
30th.
of Ducks football, and we're gearing up for it. There's a lot of pieces like Decorian Moore that we got to talk about, like the insertion of Dante Moore this year. This is the 3rd season in a row that Oregon will have a new starting quarterback. So there's just some things that hopefully the team is settled into, and they've gotten all the kinks worked out in spring, football and training camp now. But a lot of storylines to watch, and definitely I would say Dan Lanning's biggest challenge to this point as Ducks head coach, because not only do you got all these guys coming in that you have to install and work out and get settled, but you're coming off of what was probably your best season as a head coach. And
Probably.
you suffered a massive defeat in a game that you shouldn't have. And I think there are still questions lingering. How can Dan Lanning recover that or recover from that? That Ohio State game in the playoff, man, it was embarrassing.
It was ugly.
If you want to go back and talk about,
Ugly.
remember Oregon did not show up for the entire first half, was not able to get anything going. It's like they showed up basically walking in 2 feet of cement already. Was it the players? Was it the coaches who wasn't prepared? Not sure, but I hope that Dan Lanning has learned from that, and we see an even stronger team. I guess that's kind of the only thing we can hope for going into 2025.
Oh man, expect the Ducks to take a small step back. I don't think it's going to be a couple steps backwards, but I do expect them to not be as great as they were last year. But to start the season, they have a great chance to get off on an awesome note. So they start the season with Montana State, and that's a win. Oklahoma State, that's a win. Northwestern, probably a win. And then the Civil War at home against Oregon State, that's probably a win as well, right? So that's 4 wins in a row. And then the biggest test for Oregon all season is going to be when they visit Penn State on the 27th of September.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be it'll be game of the week, more than likely. And Penn State, who's number 2 in the country this year so far to start the season, looks like they could be the team to beat in the Big Ten this year.
Absolutely.
I think this year it's definitely and Drew Aller is their quarterback, correct?
Yes.
So Drew Aller in this squad, were close last year, right? They had, obviously you throw in and I'm forgetting my guy who was the defensive end.
Abdul Carter.
Excuse me.
Yeah, he's gone.
And
but-
yeah, you throw in the fact that he's gone. Maybe that leaves a little bit of a hole. But if you're Penn State, you just reload. So there's probably another Abdul Carter somewhere in the mix there. Maybe he plays linebacker this year. Maybe he plays defensive end. We're not sure, but we know Penn State likes to kind of load up on those guys. That might be the one loss that they have during this run. Potentially two in between there. That's what I'm looking at the schedule right now, and it's very, very winnable. There are 2 games in between there that could be weird, which is the Penn State game, and then the next week they play Indiana, which last year no one expected anything from Indiana.
Nope.
Right? And then they made it all the way to the playoff. So this is a team that shouldn't be overlooked by anyone, especially Oregon fans.
20th in the preseason poll.
So there's a good chance they can come in there and break some hearts right there. But I'm looking at the rest of their schedule.
Yeah.
I expect them to beat Washington, but they can always stub their toe at Washington. USC, I also expect them to beat them. So
And USC coming to Autzen this year too.
USC coming to Autzen, which will be in November. That'll be a great game. So I'm looking at the schedule. And I'm saying 10-2 at this point. I do still expect them to make the playoff.
Yeah, I see the number 7 ranking. If you look at the preseason poll that came out a couple of days ago, Oregon is at number 7 and actually got 1 first place vote in that. So there are many national pundits that still view Oregon as a threat to get to the college football playoff and possibly the national championship game as well. Which, I mean, they got a strong defense coming back. They've still got guys on the offensive line there, but there are just too many questions, in my opinion, to put them just guaranteed in the top 10. I kind of think that's maybe playing more to what they did last season than what they could be doing. And yeah, outside, you look at the schedule, outside of like Penn State and Indiana, I think that last game against Washington, it's a trap game, just like the Civil War always was, because you're coming into November. It's getting cold. You're on the road this year facing the Huskies. They're a Big Ten rival once again, just like they were in the Pac-12 as a rival, so you don't lose that I-5 rivalry feel, and you just got to make sure everybody's ready. But one thing I do like about this season as compared to last is you miss Ohio State. That's the beauty of playing in the Big Ten with 18 teams.
You miss Michigan?
Yeah, you can't play big teams every single year. You miss Michigan State as well, and they're trying to recover. So honestly, I'd be more scared about playing Michigan State this season than I was last season. Jonathan Smith, I'm pretty sure there's some blood in the water there, and he is sniffing, trying to get his career right. There were a lot of questions about him making that leap to Michigan State last year after their season. So they're going to be playing hard. Glad that they missed them. And like you said, Michigan as well probably got a bad taste in their mouth from the $30 million of fines that they just got levied from that whole sign-stealing scandal when they won the title, which wasn't stripped, but I would say $30 million. That's a pretty big fine. That's more than college teams have to spend on their salary caps for a season. But outside of those 2 games that you said, Rashad, yeah, possibly Penn State, possibly Indiana. Oregon goes to Rutgers, like that's not really a trap game. They go to Iowa, that's not really a trap game, but they are tough because they're road games. They're in places that Oregon has never been before or hasn't been for a long time. And that's the one thing I think we were concerned about with the transition of routines from last year into the Big Ten. All these new travel schedules, is that going to get to these guys? No, absolutely not. And now we're seeing that again in year 2. Destinations that haven't been on the calendar before, I don't think it's going to matter as much. I think, outside of really, I honestly think even Indiana coming into Oregon, even ranked 20th in the preseason poll, I think that's a win for Oregon. I would go further than you, Rashad. I would say that, I'll mark Oregon at Penn State September 27th as a loss. But man, going down the rest of the schedule, I think that they can win the rest of their games, even with the new quarterback. They got weapons. I know that it sucks that they lost Gary Bryant Jr. for this year, but I still think they can do it.
Okay, so Jordan has the Ducks going 11-1. I've got them going 10-2. Hopefully they're closer to you, Jordan. They go ahead and go 11-1. I want them to run the board that would be awesome. And I think if they can get past Penn State, they have a great opportunity to go yard and just run the board. So we'll see. Let's talk about the rest of the Big Ten when we come back. Ohio State is obviously the team to beat in the Big Ten, but their schedule is crazy to start. First game of the season against Texas. So what do we expect from Ohio State and the rest of the Big Ten? We'll talk about that next right here. Sports Saturday, 105.1 The Fan.
Sell your car for more money with less hassle at CarSolve.com. Don't settle for an instant offer.
Have you been watching that thing on Netflix about the SEC?
No, I need to.
I started watching it. I made it like 8 minutes. I was like, yeah, I can't do this.
It's just SEC honking.
Man, they love themselves so much in the SEC. But I mean, they were really dominant for a lot of years. And so
Football is life.
makes
down
sense. It absolutely is. You've been down south before, I assume.
there. No.
It's a different beast. It really is. Like, you know,
I've only heard about it.
No, yeah, they breed football. That's all they do. And if you're growing up to be anything other than a football player, there's a good chance that you're disowned. You've seen all the Texas football movies and stuff. Like, yeah, you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
That's a real thing.
No, it's good thing your uniform is red so the blood's not going to show up in it. Yeah, that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
yes, it is all passion, all football, all the time. There are high school football stadiums that are as big as professional stadiums around the rest of the country down south. Like, I know what the SEC thinks that they are, and frankly, they're probably right.
Yeah, they are. But I don't think they're the only region that knows how to play football, because the Midwest is pretty good as well. Ohio State, again, coming into the season, they're not number one, but they're damn close. What, Ohio State is third?
Yeah, Ohio State's
Yeah.
right behind Penn State in the preseason poll.
They have a very good chance of taking over the number one spot if the first game of the season on August 30th, they can beat Texas at home, 9 a.m. kick here in the Northwest. Man, Ohio State has everything that you would want your team to have. I think Oregon kind of found that out the hard way during the playoff last year. You know, and even during the initial game that they played them in the season, that was a tough game. And remember, it came down to a last-second field goal, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, some mistakes by Ohio State's quarterback down the stretch. So there's a lot of things that kind of worked in Oregon's favor. And they got their chance to go back to the well, and they completely boat raced Oregon, you know, in the playoff. And I don't think any of us expected that. But maybe we should have, because we didn't see the best Ohio State team in that first game against Oregon.
No, well, no, and they used that game against Oregon to essentially kind of ramp back up and play the best football that I think Ryan Day has ever freaking coached. I
Yeah.
mean, he coached himself into legend status. It's kind of crazy how in college football you can go from being on the hot seat to now being one of the, greatest heralded coaches of our time. But that's what Ryan Day did to himself last year. I mean, hey, I know they've lost these guys, but Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson. Of course, you've got two very talented wide receivers left over from there. One's gone. You're looking for a new quarterback after Will Howard left, but he was kind of an insert in that last year, right? After coming over from Kansas State. So even with that competition, I think it's Julian Sayin and Lincoln Kleinholz, I can't remember his name, are competing for the starting job. It just speaks to how prestigious this Ohio State team still is and the talent that they've still got on this roster, that despite a quarterback competition, it doesn't matter. Ryan Day, coming off of his first ever championship, expected, or at least close to expected, to be the best team in the league. Going to be hard to seat Texas in Arch Manning, or unseat Texas in Arch Manning, though. But yeah, Ryan Day, man, using basically Oregon's loss, or the loss to Oregon, as a jumping pad to that championship. Yeah, I think that makes them one of the scariest teams in the conference for the rest of the decade.
I honestly thought Ryan Day was on his way to be fired.
That's what a lot of people
After
thought.
you keep losing to Michigan like this 4 years in a row or something like that, or
Yeah.
3, yeah. You keep losing to Michigan, you're gonna get fired. Like, that's just if you're Ohio State, you can win every game, you win the national championship. But if you lose to Michigan that many times, you eventually get fired. The best thing that could have happened to him is he went on to win the national championship this past year. But Julian Sayin, who is their new quarterback, he is a transfer redshirt freshman, coming from
Yeah,
where did he come
sophomore, I
from?
think.
Yeah, where's he coming from? Coming from Alabama.
Come from Alabama.
So clearly that kid knows how to play football, and as long as you have Jeremiah Smith at the X position out there, he's the biggest mismatch from the wide receiver
he
position.
literally could have been in the NFL draft this year.
Yeah, and would have been a top five pick.
Yeah,
easy.
easily.
And so, and I'm knocking on wood, as long as this kid can stay healthy, he has an opportunity to be arguably the best college receiver we've ever seen.
I mean, Ohio State at the top of the conference, at the top of the entire college football rankings. Are you surprised? No. So
not
them
at
and
all.
Penn State and Oregon, three of the best teams in college football, once again, most likely going to be at the top of the conference. And yeah, outside of Michigan, that was basically the story last season, right? Michigan a little bit lower, but hey, they could play themselves into contention later in the conference season as well. So exciting. And frankly, once again, with Oregon having to replace some of those holes, it kind of makes me more nervous with the other teams in this conference, even though they're not facing them. Like, what happens if Oregon makes a conference championship? Are they even going to be competitive against an Ohio State or against a Penn State later in the season?
And speaking of Penn State, we'll wrap it up with talking about them, man. Penn State is the number 1 team, or excuse me, the number 2 team in the country right now. Again, I think they have everything that you would want your team to have. And the one thing I love most about Penn State is James Franklin. I absolutely love that coach. I love his temperament. I love that he likes to have fun with his team, and he'll bring in Keegan-Michael Key to kind of do the whole, I'm Coach Franklin thing and everything like that. He wants to keep it light for his team, but when it's time to go out there and play football, he knows exactly what to do out there. I think he's one of the best X's and O's guys in all of college football, and he keeps getting these game-changing players, behind him. So I think really if they can, they've got 2 games on their schedule, which is Ohio State and Indiana, Oregon. They got 3 games on their schedule that could go weirdly for them. I don't really know what to make of Penn State right now. I think they're going to be good. I'm looking at their schedule saying there's no reason they shouldn't at least try to run the board, but I think the Oregon game, the Ohio State game would be the 2 little thorns in the side of this Nittany Lions team. But I do still think they will make it to the playoff. The Big Ten is going to have 3 teams in the playoff, at least 3 teams. Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, I think are all going to make the playoff.
I can't disagree with you in the slightest. They lost Tyler Warren on the Penn State end last year. Probably, outside of Jeremiah Smith, one of the best offensive players in all of college
Couldn't
football.
Couldn't be tackled at all.
I'm excited to see him in the NFL and what he can do for the Colts this season. But there's a couple of guys that they've been looking at to replace his production. I believe Theo Johnson, that was his name. He was a guy that was already on the roster, had some big plays for them last year. And then this 4-star kid, Pierce Peterson, I think is his name, or Peterson. I've read his name. I've seen it. I haven't heard it said. I'm not a big Penn State highlights guy, but looks like they're going to have, just like they do at Ohio State, all the key pieces to replace, all those holes. So that's once again why they're at the top 2 and 3 now in the top 5, with teams that had major losses in their last season coming into now. Like, obviously people don't think it matters in the national media. And yeah, you talk about James Franklin, what he can do. Sounds like he's going to make lemonade out of lemons or whatever he has to deal with. And heck, even leading up to this point, it sounds like guys on the roster were waiting for Tyler Warren to leave. We're waiting for Abdul Carter to leave. They've already got these holes filled, and according to Franklin, I did hear him say in the offseason, they've had a plan in place to fill these holes for a while. So look at Penn State, man. Watch out.
And the one hole they don't have to fill is at the trigger man, because you have one of the best college quarterbacks in the nation in Drew Aller as your starting quarterback. Man, he's a big guy. He's 235. He's 6'4", 6'5", something like that. Like, kid, he's a beast, and we saw what he was able to do last year. Really, again, quietly one of the best quarterbacks in the nation last year. The numbers wouldn't have told you 24 touchdowns and 8 interceptions.
He just doesn't throw as much.
No, he doesn't throw as much, but now I expect him to, as a senior leader, I expect Drew Aller to air it out just a little bit more than maybe he did this past year.
Yeah, you kind of wonder if they're going to switch a little bit more to the air attack. I feel like that is something in college football that they do a lot more than NFL teams. They're just willing to, get it out over the top and run the shotgun a lot, but that's not quite how Penn State works. They're under center a lot. They're really, run it up the gut, kind of like Ohio State was with such a 2-headed attack in Travion Henderson and Quinshon Junkins, just star-studded. Same thing at Penn State this year, man. They're going to lean on those weapons that they had, and Drew Aller isn't going to have to be the guy. It was what I said last year when Oregon played Penn State, that they were elevated by Dylan Gabriel. To me, Penn State isn't elevated by Drew Aller. It's the scheme, it's the system that Franklin and his OC have.
Give me one team from the Big Ten that we haven't talked about that you think could potentially make the playoff this year.
You know what? I know nobody's talking about it, but I think if Michigan State can go on a run, they have an opportunity to at least get to the conference championship, and here's why. Jonathan Smith is reeling for the first time, I think, in his career as a head coach, right? He was the heralded guide making the jump from Oregon State to Michigan State, but he brought his quarterback with him. Like, there are pieces there that I think after making that transition are allowing him to feel a bit more comfortable in year 2 as opposed to year 1. Watch out for Jonathan Smith. Watch out for Michigan State. I think they can make a difference.
The team I'm going to say, and I think it's going to shock a lot of people, is Illinois.
Okay.
Illinois last year got 10 wins, and they return a lot of kids from that 10-win team all of a sudden. They've got a great young quarterback a veteran quarterback in Luke Altmaier, so that could be a big thing for them. They got a really good offensive line. So I think Illinois could be one of those teams that really nobody's talking about right now. They're the 12th team in the nation, right? But nobody's really giving them a whole lot of credit for, because they're Illinois, and who really knows them as being a football powerhouse, especially in this Big Ten. So I do think Illinois could be one of those teams that sneaks into the playoff as like the 4th team from the Big Ten.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. So there it is. Football, college football. Let's talk some more college football. So I saw this list. They came out with an AP all-time college football team. You might be kind of surprised on who's on both first and second teams for this thing. So we'll talk about that next. But first, Jordan has sports.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Seattle Seahawks getting a win in week 2 of preseason action last night, 33-16. The final. Drew Lock, 2 touchdowns and 129 yards through the air. Damian Martinez leading the way. Former Beaver had 50 yards on the ground and a touchdown rushing as well. On to baseball. The Mariners get the 11-9 win over the Mets last night. Cal Raleigh hitting his 46th whammy of the season. They'll go for a win in Game 2 this afternoon. 1:10 first pitch on Root Sports. You can also catch the pregame starting right here on the Fan at 12:30. On to golf. The BMW Championship in progress right now. Leaders not on the course as of yet. Robert McIntyre, your overall leader at 14 under. He tees off with second place golfer Scotty Scheffler. Scheffler sitting at 9 under. They get going at 10:45. Victor Hovland on the course right now. He's tied for 5th at 6 under with Harry Hall, Tommy Fleetwood, and Michael Kim. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the firm of Harris and Meringue. Weekdays 10 to 1. The Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
The season is open for savings.
Saturday on the Fan Sports Network. 105.1 and 1080 The Fan.
But we're going to continue to push it to the limit here. Sports Saturday. We're almost there, man. 10:35 on this beautiful Saturday, the 16th. My mom is having a little birthday party
Ooh.
today, so
Sounds fun, man.
should be good. She turned 60. It's crazy.
That
Happy
is-
birthday.
That's a
Mom.
big one. Happy birthday, and thank you for the invite. I appreciate that.
No, of course, man. You know, always got to invite the homies out. So, as I was kind of preparing for the show, I'm flipping through everything, trying to find, top stories and everything like that. I think we got to most of them. But the one thing I did see, which was interesting to me, to say the least, was the Associated Press is celebrating their 100th anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And so they've decided to choose an all-American teams for over the past 100 years. And some of the names may shock you. So I'm just going to ask you this. Jordan Schultz, who is a college football fan, who do you think the first team quarterback was for this AP all-time All-American team?
What?
Yeah.
So this is this is
It's
teams or
all-time,
players?
all-time All-American team, right? So who do you think that the Associated Press chose as the first team all-time All-American quarterback?
I mean, we're going back to like Johnny Unitas. What the hell are we doing here?
I'll spoil it for you.
Like what? I mean, is it like that or like some idiot like Tim Tebow on it?
It's Tim Tebow.
No.
It's Tim Tebow.
You-
Associated Press chose Tim Tebow as the best quarterback of the past 100 years.
What? I was half joking when I said that.
You were absolutely right. You should have joked more often because you were absolutely right. So Tim Tebow got the nod as from first team. The running backs are Barry Sanders, 1988, and Herschel Walker. Receivers, Randy Moss, Larry Fitzgerald. No big surprise there. Tight end, Brock Bowers. That's where it starts to get a little like, oh, okay. I like Brock Bowers, but do I think he was better than Jeremy Shockey? I don't know. Like we'll see, but that's for somebody else to debate. The offensive tackles were Orlando Pace, Bill Frolic, obviously John Hanna and Jim Parker.
For guards, and Chuck Bednarik for center. See, that makes sense.
Yeah, all that
Especially
makes
Orlando
sense.
Pace.
Yeah, Orlando Pace, Sebastian Janikowski, and then Johnny Rogers is all purpose. So
Larry Fitzgerald was on the cover of NCAA football in 2004, I believe. So
and was
he-
a cover of Madden.
Was he?
And at one point, yeah.
Good for him.
Larry
Oh, yeah, he
Fitzgerald,
was. Yes, in his Cardinals
I think he
uniform.
might be the only guy that's been on the cover
Of both.
Of both. Yeah. Was
was-
Mike Vick on the cover of college?
No, was Reggie Bush on the cover
He was
of
not.
the NFL at
He
all?
was not.
Then no, I believe Larry Fitzgerald might be the only one to hold that honor. That's crazy.
The first team defense is Hugh Green, Randy White.
You see the kicker, by the way?
I do.
Yeah, Sebastian
Janikowski.
I love that.
Makes a lot of sense.
Of
I love
course.
Sebastian Janikowski, man. Portland's own Ndamukong Suh
Yes.
made the team. Dick Butkus, Derek Thomas, Chris Spielman. Corners are Charles Woodson and none other than primetime Deion Sanders, Ronnie Lott, and Ed Reed. Number one, that secondary is crazy.
Yeah.
Charles Woodson, Deion Sanders, Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed.
Good Lord.
That's insane, right there. The second team is probably a little more interesting than the first, though. Quarterback is Vince Young.
See, I like that choice.
Vince Young, it's easy to forget how good he was and how he pretty much carried that Texas team.
Actually, he also might have been on the cover of both Madden and NCAA college football.
He was.
Yes.
He
So
was.
him and
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald, that distinctive honor.
Yeah, Vince Young, I remember watching that national championship game against USC. And USC had, I want to say it was like 17 All-Americans or something like that from the offense and defense. They had all these things. They had the Heisman winner. They just didn't have Vince Young. And Vince Young that was one of the best performances I still to this day have ever seen in a college football game. Here's the big surprise for me. Archie Griffin is on the second team. And it's weird because how does the only two-time Heisman winner make the second team?
You go back to the first team, the running backs are Barry Sanders and Herschel Walker.
Yeah, and Barry was great in college. Barry was amazing.
And so was Herschel Walker.
So was Herschel.
But Archie Griffin was the only back-to-back Heisman winner.
Yeah.
How do you not include him in the first team instead of
I
the
don't know.
second? Like, are we going stats? Are we saying that the 80s were tougher to run in than the 70s in
I don't
college
know,
football?
because if that's
What
the
hell
case,
are we
where's
doing?
if I'm being honest, if that's the case, where is O.J. Simpson?
I mean, and
If
just,
we're, I mean,
if we're going just player,
if we're going just player,
and not-
college,
yeah,
just college,
yeah,
pre
that's a good-
all the weird
that's a good
stuff.
point.
Where is O.J. Simpson?
Like, you
Unless
got
it's
to
up there?
include the guys on here that
Unfortunately,
are a-holes, but you got
yeah, it's unfortunate. Also, no Reggie Bush on this list, which again I would probably disagree with, because for 3 years Reggie Bush was excitement. He was a video game.
I know the second running back on the second team offense is Tony Dorsett. It says Pitt in 1976. Obviously wasn't around, don't remember that.
But it's Tony Dorsett.
But I would venture a guess that Reggie Bush was much better than Tony Dorsett overall, and that he should be included instead of Dorsett.
Probably so. The wide receivers for the second team, Devontae Smith and Desmond Howard. Again, really easy to forget how good Devontae Smith was in college. Heisman winner from the receiver position. How many of those exist?
Exactly. And Desmond Howard, the Heisman guy, the pose.
The
Come on,
pose.
we know.
The reason that you get into the end zone at that point and can knock that pose out is because of Desmond Howard. So,
But don't you think that, like, Jeremiah Smith for the Ohio State Buckeyes could literally already be considered one of the best in the top 100
I do.
Years? Because
yes.
I do. I think he's missing from this
yes,
list.
if again, barring injuries, and I'm knocking on faux wood all around, barring injuries, I think Jeremiah Smith is going to be the greatest college wide receiver we've ever seen.
Yeah.
If his freshman year is any indication of what he'll do for the rest of his career, I think he's going to be one of the best that we've ever seen, if not the best we've ever seen. Offensive tackles are Jonathan Ogden and one of my favorites ever, Bryant McKinney.
Ooh, yeah, I love Bryant McKinney.
Number one, that Miami Hurricanes team, like, we used to get together, my team, when we were in high school, and on Saturdays we would watch the Hurricanes and we would watch Michael Vick play, because my senior year of high school was Michael Vick at Virginia Tech, and you talk about must-see. Like, he was great, but that Miami squad was always so cold. But on the defensive side, Bubba Smith and Bruce Smith are the defensive ends. Shout out to Bubba Smith for being in Police Academy, all those movies. You know what I'm saying? I used to love those. Let's see. Warren Sapp was the defensive tackle. Linebackers are Jerry Robinson, Brian Bosworth, and Lawrence Taylor on the second team.
Before we skip over the defensive tackles, Leroy Selman, is the other defensive tackle. I once again, not a 70s guy, wasn't born yet, don't remember, don't really know who he is. I'm going to go a little bias here and say that one Haloti Ngata, Oregon Ducks defensive tackle, is actually being left off this list.
For sure.
He was, I believe, a top 10 or 12 pick in the NFL overall by the Baltimore Ravens. He was one of the best linemen, not only in college football defensive-wise, but in the NFL. He was one of the fastest linemen. I remember when he was being recruited, Oregon's big, claim to fame for him was that he was as big as he was running like a 5-second 40. Or like a 5-1 40.
Yeah, you don't want him running after you.
No, some insane time. Kind of what maybe an early version of an edge rusher, but at the defensive tackle position, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He had that speed combined with the ability to F you up front. And I see this list and I'm like, oh, come on, put Haloti Ngata in there.
They're missing some people. They're definitely missing some people.
That's a big one for me.
They're definitely missing some people. Again, the linebackers, Jerry Robinson, Brian Bosworth, and Lawrence Taylor. It's easy to forget. Again, we look at the people's professional career and say that, well, you were clearly a bust. Like, you didn't make it. Even though in college, he's that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's probably got every record, all that stuff. Brian Bosworth was one of those ones.
Yes.
Especially, he went to Seattle and everything. And I think there was a lot of excitement about what he would do in Seattle. He got ran over by Bo Jackson, and that pretty much ruined everything.
It did.
It's Bo Jackson. What are we talking about? I can understand if it was some small, unnamed running back that ran you over for a touchdown, but you're talking about the one cheat code that football has ever had. One of the two, Bo Jackson and Michael Vick. And that's who you got ran over by, and his career pretty much went down the drain after that. So, yeah, Brian Bosworth. But he's turned into a great actor. You see Brian Bosworth pop up in a lot of movies and stuff all of a sudden. So, shout out to him. Corners are Champ Bailey and Tyrann Mathieu. Again, Honey Badger was awesome in college. Safeties, Benny Blades and Al Broski. Benny Blades, I'm a big U guy. So if you haven't seen those documentaries of the U, Benny Blades was definitely one of those ones at the safety position. And then punter was Reggie Roby. 1981 from Iowa.
I like this conference breakdown too. You got 7 in the Big Ten, 5 in the SEC, 4 independents, 2 ACCs, Big East, Big Eights, and then 1 from the Big 12, the MAC making it on the list, and then 1 from the Pac-10.
Yeah, only 1 from the Pac-10, which is crazy. Or was it Pac-8 at that point? I can't tell.
I know. Well, they say Pac-10, so I'm assuming it was when it was. I'm trying to find this really quickly. Yeah. We just looked at it. Nebraska, no. Ohio State, no. California, Ronnie Lott,
Okay.
Southern Cal, yeah, USC.
So the great thing is, we've been able to see more than half of this list play before. For the guys that are a little bit older, the Dick Butkus, we know how great he was, but we didn't get a chance to really
rest
see.
in peace, Dick.
Yeah,
We just lost you a year
Yeah,
ago,
Dick,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's a list. You get a chance to check that out. That's on Bleacher Report if you get a chance.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm glad they did this because one of those things, it's summer, dog days, and we definitely needed it. You ready to wrap this joint up?
Oh, let's do it.
All right, we're going to wrap it up here. Football Saturday or Sports Saturday. Soon to be Football Saturday pretty soon. Right here, 105.1 The Fan.
Grocery Outlet has
Got a quick question for you, Jordan, before we get ready to get out of here.
Lay it on me.
I'm gonna take you back. You're in the 90s. It's mid 90s.
Oh, so
All
like
right.
6, okay?
Let's say you're a teenager in the mid 90s.
Okay.
Right? Let's say you're a high school kid. You're a senior.
Okay. All right.
Right.
So I'm wearing weird glasses, and I look like I just came out of the 80s, but haven't figured anything out yet.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Prom's coming up. You can ask one of these TV ladies to prom.
Oh, okay.
I need to know who it is and why. There is Ashley Banks from Fresh Prince. Kelly Kapowski. Kelly Bundy. Kimberly from the Power Rangers.
Yeah, duh.
DJ Tanner.
I was hoping she would come up with the Pink Power Ranger.
Yeah. DJ Tanner. Lisa Turtle from Saved by the Bell. And Topanga Lawrence.
See, I just met Topanga about a month ago.
Does she have dope kicks?
Beautiful human being, by the way.
I can
they were all
imagine.
really nice. Ryder Strong, Danielle Fishel, the woman
My
who played
favorite television
Topanga and
show.
Wilfred L.
One of my two favorite TV shows of all time.
Boy Meets World.
And the other one is The Wonder Years.
Oh man, the Savage
Savage Brothers, yeah.
entertainment like umbrella, like from the 80s and 90s. Yeah, Fred and Ben, man, kind of ruled. But yeah, I think it's a toss-up for me. Like, yeah, Kelly Kapowski, sure, but like I think it's a toss-up for me between Topanga and the Pink Power Ranger. There are no lengths I would not go to spend a night with either of those. Let's just say.
I never understood the appeal of Kimberly from Power Rangers.
I don't know,
She's-
bro. When I go back and watch it, I'm still like, yep, give me Kimberly. I almost
Yeah.
said something very dirty on the radio, and I'm glad.
Well,
I
we're on
stopped
FM
myself.
now, so I think you can get away with some of
Oh no, I really can't get away with it now, brother.
it. Yeah, we got a little more of a leash now, now that we're here. For me, it's a no-brainer. And this goes back to me being a kid. The answer is Topanga. I remember the day that Topanga got hot on the show. It was the episode where she accidentally like cut her hair or something like that.
Really?
She cut her hair off. If she was always cute. Don't get me
Well,
wrong.
the season 1 to 2, because my wife and I've been watching this.
She was kind of
pretty
weird. She was
religiously.
kind of the weird, earthy
And then
girl.
season 2, she comes back and you're a woman now.
Yeah.
And I remember Sean and Corey in the show. They're like, whoa, like yes, we went through puberty over the summer. It happens. Like welcome.
Yeah, there's a scene. She cuts her hair.
Yes.
And like goes to the beauty salon, and then she like walks into a room after her hair is cut, and I was like,
Hello,
oh my God.
goodbye. I am so at the mall. I
Yeah,
know
that
exactly the
that
scene you're
episode. And
talking
it was like,
about.
oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
Topanga is super fresh. Listen, a lot of white girls don't have put the collagen stuff in their lips to kind of give
to
them that.
match Topanga.
She always had those full
Naturally,
lips,
yeah.
which is crazy. So yeah, Topanga is definitely the person that she's the one crush that I've had since, or at least when I was a kid. Like, so if there's an opportunity to go to prom at that point, she's definitely first. After that is Ashley Banks. Like,
Okay, I get that.
listen, man, as a young black boy
Yeah.
growing up,
Well, she's hot.
man, hey, Tatiana Ali at that point, Ashley from Fresh Prince was so fresh to
Mhm.
me. And she was like right around my age. So it was like, yeah, she's super dope to me. Is there anybody that's like that I'm missing from the 90s? It's like, because I tried to choose like a lot of like teenage based.
Yeah, like I
people.
feel like that there's one or two we're forgetting, and honestly, like the fact that DJ Tanner is even on the list is kind of hilarious to me.
Because I was always a Stephanie
Nah.
fan.
Ditto. Dude,
Stephanie was always bad to
right
me.
now.
Yeah.
Jodie Sweetin.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah, she's super hot. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
give
not
me
sure.
a night with Jodie Sweetin if I were single.
I'm not sure what happened, like, but she grew up and yeah, Stephanie is super
Yeah,
super fresh. So
my
yeah,
goodness.
I'm looking at a list right here. I can show you here. I'm not sure why DJ Tanner was on here because I think she would come in
Dead
probably
last.
a great person. I'm sure she's an amazing person. You
She
know, probably
wasn't-
got a great
I
personality.
never saw her as like a hot. I don't.
Nah.
We are being so objectifying right
So
now because she'd
sexist
look at
over
me and be
here.
like, "Well, you're not a hot either," and I'd be
So
like,
sexist
"You know
over
what?
here.
You're right. Like,
Yeah.
we're not hots calling each other not hots.
No,
it's equal."
yeah. No, but yeah, I would definitely, man, if I got a chance to get it to Topanga at that point, man, that would have been my all-time.
Oh, today I'd
Yeah.
ask Topanga if
So
it
how-
was an available option to me. I'd do that today.
How was the Boy Meets pod.
The
thing?
Pod Meets, yeah. So they
Pod
do
Meets
a
World?
they do a rewatch podcast, which is kind of all the rage now with 90s and early 2000s shows. But Pod Meets World, it contains Topanga, Sean, and Eric. No Corey, Ben Savage, the guy that plays Corey, but
He didn't get along with them. He seems like a kind of a jerk. low-key.
apparently, and this is according to Will Friedle, like he said this at the show. The guy that plays Eric or played Eric, he's like, yeah, we literally haven't heard from him in like 2 or 3 years. There have been unanswered text messages to the point where he is just Ben Savage Corey is ignoring the rest of the cast. So we don't know why. But the show itself, really fun. Thankfully, we paid. My wife and I were like, we're splurging. We're doing this. We're paying for a meet and greet after with these guys, and we were the second people to go. I think there was a line of like 60 to 70 people, and we were thankful that we were up front because we knew they were going to be exhausted by the end of it. But we got a nice moment with them, got a lot of pictures. I got to tell them how much I appreciated their show kind of before the days of The Office, kind of being that comfort show
Yeah.
and people streaming stuff for comfort.
I still watch Boy Meets World.
Exactly.
all the time.
It was such a blessing for me just to be able to tell them, hey, you guys, you were that comfort blanket for me. And every time I needed like just some kind of semblance of normalcy in my crazy life, I turned your program on. So thank you so much.
Who didn't grow up wanting a relationship like Corey and Topanga? Who didn't grow up wanting something similar to that? Like, I mean, that just
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of, because of the messaging, strove towards that, yeah?
yeah, absolutely. Like just to love one person no matter what we go through, no matter what happens. Like it's unrealistic. When you're a kid, you see how unrealistic love is, at seriously as a young kid.
Yeah.
Like you tell yourself, oh, we'll be together forever through all this stuff, through all these things. You're so immature. You don't know any better at that point.
That's actually one point of the pod that I really appreciate them pointing out is that it's not necessarily the best example of a relationship that Corey and Topanga had. There were a lot of things that were pushed that shouldn't have been pushed.
It was toxic at a point.
Yeah, you look at the time watching and be like, yeah, I want that relationship. Looking back, yeah, I don't know. I think Topanga should have just put out for Corey once, so he would have moved on.
Yeah, he would have moved on and
Yeah,
did something else. You know what I
Topanga
mean?
could have gone
But
to freaking
Corey
Yale.
would have been whipped. He would have been there the entire time,
Exactly,
man. So he wasn't going
exactly.
no place, man.
That's true.
Well, this is fun, man. Jordan,
Hell
I
yeah.
appreciate you, my guy.
I love you, brother. Love
We
everybody
don't
out
need
there.
Joe, right? We can do this on our own. Well, he is going to be back, and we did miss the homie today. So next week, I think the whole crew will be here. Talk some more football. Oh, Dylan Gabriel just threw a pick six, by the way. So I don't know if Oregon fan wants to know that, but there it is right there. So you can catch a lot of the preseason on football on TV today. I'm not sure what channels, but they're all over the place right now. I am going to go celebrate my mom today. Mom, happy birthday to you. I love you. Jordan, thank you so much, my guy.
Yeah, appreciate you. Love you all out there as well.
All right, for Jordan Schultz, I'm Rashad Taylor. We will see y'all next time. Peace.
The season is open for savings at your local Coastal.